times I've been asked, especially lately, can you reimagine America? What would that look like? And I often envision equality for all, but more specifically, an America where young girls aren't told by society what they are capable of, or some random value system that applauds their appearance and not necessarily their character. A reimagined America puts the same value on young girls as it does young boys, and that value produces an endless world of possibilities. Here's poet Fumilola Fagbumila.
Imagine little black girl, maybe 9, maybe 10. She solemnly swears to herself she will win. She will write her thoughts. She will read them loud. She will speak her mind. What a powerful sound. She gonna light up the world with her futuristic vision about what our world would look like if we fought for abolition of the systems that are founded on a mass superstition. The demand that our minds and our bodies are imprisoned.
It's no longer about sports. It's about human dignity, human pride.
Yes, she's gonna do all that. But in order to do that, she has to dodge the things that hold her back. Like assumptions made about who she is and what she should do and how she should live. Like, be a good girl and don't make no noise and go play with Barbies and all these pink toys. And your mind is no match for the minds of the boys.
Call strike 3. Good start for Monet Davis.
And she knows that ignorance given power destroys. But she won't be held back. No, she won't do that. Yes, she will push through, because that's what black girls do. And she has no limit. She exceeds the sky. She is strength and power that you can't deny.
Simone Manuel gets it done. Unbelievable.
Naomi Osaka reclaims her crown of the Australian Open.
Parker on the drive. Yes! She did it!
She will challenge authority. No, she won't comply. She will change the world, and yes, she will go high. And I'll be shading my eyes as I look in the sky. And what I see in them clouds, that young black girl fly. Get it, black girl, fly. Go, black girl, fly.
Dog shooting it.
Come on, black girl, fly.
Flying.
Yes, black girl, fly. And I'll be shading my eyes as I look in the sky. And what I see in them clouds, that young black girl, fly.
Legacy, leave one. Not alone, because we all won. Welcome to the arena.
Powerful, powerful way for us to say welcome to a very special edition of The Arena. Tonight, we honor women in sports in a show that was executive produced by the great WNBA champion, Candace Parker.
Yes.
Thank you so much, my friend.
Thank you so much.
It's the humble brag. She's like, standing alongside recently retired WNBA champion Renee Montgomery. Thank you for joining us and coming back. So tonight we really want to talk about the progression and in some cases regression of where women in sports are. I am so honored to be here, and I think this is a perfect, what I'd like to say is an intersection as we wrap up Black History Month and get ready to step into Women's History Month. So let's begin with this question, and Candace, I'll start with you. The idea of this show is wonderful, but actually the execution has a lot to do with when you first fell in love with sports. Talk to me about what sports means to you and what it's done for you.
We would be here all day if I could speak about what sports means to me and the doors and the relationships and the memories and the experiences because of this little orange ball.
Right.
And how empowered you feel when you're able to go out there and to perform. And, you know, I think it goes back to just that childlike innocence and excitement anytime you step on the court. And I still get that to this day at 34 years old. I still get that childlike excitement anytime I'm able to play the game I love. And now to see, you know, everyone taking it a step farther. And it's super special to just be able to sit here with someone that I played basketball with Renee at 15 years old.
All right.
And now we're sitting here doing this and all the amazing things that she's accomplished. So basketball is just, it's not a sport. It really is a lifestyle for sure.
You got to share the AAU story. Y'all was there throwing up lobs and
we might have been the original Lob City if that's the case, because this was when we were 15, and, you know, to Candace's point, like basketball took me out of West Virginia. And I say that in a sense of I had to do a lot to try to get seen, because West Virginia is just, people weren't beating down the doors to come find players in West Virginia. And so for me, I was looking for a way like out and a way to succeed. And so I saw a basketball and I saw that work ethic was getting me things, and I kept feeding into it. And then, you know, basketball took me overseas. It taught me different cultures. It made me understand differently.
Did it get you those nice boots? They look cute.
Basketball got me my shoes.
She's cute.
No, but to Candace, but to Candace's point, though, honestly, like, I've known her since I was 15, and people, you know, they talk about a Tennessee-UConn rivalry. We were playing together at 15 trying to get that scholarship. So for us, it was super lit that I'm like, what? They got scholarships to Tennessee, her, Alexis Hornbuckle, players I played with. It became exciting because we were all making it. And then, like she said, to be here now, it's wild.
I like the idea of this because we also are talking about those who held the door open. You know, the shoulders that you all stand on, that I all stand on. Sports has brought me so much. I'm able to sit with you lovely, accomplished young ladies. But I talk about, for me, when I first fell in love with the game, was because of my grandmother. My grandmother is 91 years old. She played basketball in the segregated South.
Wow.
And then when we moved to LA, the family, I wasn't born then, obviously, she became a Laker fan. And I don't know if anyone knows this.
Oh, gosh.
If anybody knows this.
If anybody knows this.
If anyone knows this. But with that being said, I really didn't understand the game. And as a kid, because we were so poor, we would catch the bus to the Forum. We'd sit in the nosebleeds. And she explained the game to me and what it meant to her and how it changed her life and taught her and gave her a level of respect in the segregated South that she just would not have had.
Beautiful.
And I just think about what those before us had to deal with. Candace, when you think about growing up and loving basketball, the generation before you didn't have anybody to look up to. Who would you look up to?
I looked up to my brothers. I fortunately had a front row seat to just unbelievable role models and mentors. And in my household, I was fortunate because I grew up with the same expectations, and there's zero limitations because I was the only girl. I had the same curfew. I did the dishes, my brothers cooked, we took out the trash. Like, that was the expectation. And on the car ride homes from games, my dad would yell at me the same way he did my brothers. And I couldn't wait as a kid when I was watching my brother get those pep talks, or watching him outside running in strength shoes, or, you know, chasing after the car, working out. I wanted to be that. And so I looked up to my brothers because until I was 11 years old, the WNBA didn't exist.
Bingo.
And
Bingo.
yeah, until you were 11 years old, you didn't have other women to look up to. I was in the Chicagoland area, so of course I was a Bulls fan. But I went out there and I played basketball as Candace. I didn't play basketball as a girl basketball player. And I think I had a leg up in being raised by parents that encouraged me to go out there and be Candace. Don't worry about everybody putting limitations on you because you're an African-American woman. You go out there and you perform, and the rest will take care of itself.
You approach life that way on and off the court. I've seen it. Do you think when the WNBA came into existence, how did that change your perspective of what Candace could do?
It changed my perspective because I saw Cynthia Cooper raise the roof.
Yeah.
I saw that it was okay for Brandi Chastain to take off her shirt and celebrate. I thought it was okay. It was okay for women to, in that Black Girl Fly poem, you're told to just be a girl, be quiet, don't celebrate, be humble. And on the basketball court, there was none of that. Renee knows, and the WNBA proved that. I mean, Cynthia Cooper raising the roof, everybody was going around doing that.
Yeah.
I love you for saying that. Excuse me, as they said in the Black Girl Fly poem, black girls always push through because that's what we do.
Black girls do.
That's what we do. And I'm going to push through and go to a break. Coming up on The Arena, this is a special guest, 9-time Olympic medalist, Allison Felix. Hey, girl. She's joining us. We have a lot to talk about. And we also take a look at why the 1996 Olympics here in Atlanta really was called the Summer of Women. You do not want to miss it.
When you've been denied opportunity and you're given it, boy, you just are ready. Nothing's going to stop you.
Welcome back to the arena. So the 96 Olympics, often referred to as the Title IX Olympics. For the very first time in U.S. women's basketball history, all the athletes trained together for nearly a year in preparation for the games. It was also the first time that softball and soccer were allowed in the games. So the objective was clear for the women of the Olympics. It was their time to shine. It was their time to grab the respect that was so long overdue. And it was their time to make good on a promise of Title IX. Candace Parker narrates the incredible journey of young girls who were told that their sports careers would end after school, high school, or college, now competing on a world stage.
25 years ago, in this city, the nation and world watched in collective awe at some of the most dominant performances in sports.
There's great pride that comes with seeing those 3 letters on the front of your uniform.
As an athlete, I believe it's by far the greatest honor that you can have.
Witnessing new events and pioneering triumphs from Team USA.
When you hear that national anthem being played because you did your job and you did it well.
Achievements that established the 1996 Olympics in Atlanta as the Summer of Women.
I have never felt anything like that before.
In the 90s, there was not a lot of women's sports on TV.
It made it difficult at times to be able to have role models, to have people to inspire.
It's extremely important to be able to visualize and see those that are like you. As a young girl, the Little League game that was just before my brother's, the head coach came out and said, "How would you like to play on my Little League baseball team?" And then he said, "We're gonna have to cut your hair really short and give you a boy's name. We're gonna call you Bob." And I said, "Sir, thank you, but no thank you. If I have to hide who I am, I just don't feel it's right."
I did not have a female person that I looked up to growing up. There weren't a whole lot of girls playing any type of sports. So I was one of one.
The 96 Olympians were a generation removed from the passage of Title IX in 1972, a law that sought to put American women on a more level playing field with the men.
Women's basketball had started about in 1975. For the next 20 years, the game progressed some, but we needed a shot in the arm with something, and then along came the 96 Olympics.
The Summer Olympics in 1996 were huge. In fact, a lot of people refer to it as the Title IX Olympics.
I really feel it was the right time because these things do take time, right? You have to cultivate athletes over time. We were the fruit that was born from that amazing seed that was planted decades before.
For the first time, the U.S. women's basketball team trained and played together for nearly a year in preparation.
It was gold or failure.
I was introduced by the head of USA Basketball this way. This is not about bronze. This is not about silver. This is about gold. Tara Vanderveer.
We felt like it would have been failure to little girls who wanted to play basketball as a profession. If we didn't win gold, we couldn't let them down. I know all the other women's sports were in a position of, we're going to make the most out of these Olympic Games.
For the first time, women's soccer was going to be an Olympic sport.
It was the first time softball was in the Olympic Games.
We were just starting to get going with being able to sustain the payment as a professional.
It was about trying to make a name for our game and really trying to bring women's athletics to the forefront.
We thought so many opportunities would have been missed. We added that to the pressure of winning the gold medal.
Even with the added pressure, the U.S. women's basketball team dominated their opponents by an average of 28 points and beat Brazil for gold, 111-87, in front of a sellout crowd at the Georgia Dome.
We had arguably the best players to ever play the game on one team.
In dramatic fashion, the U.S. women's gymnastics team won its first team gold in history. The Magnificent Seven defied the odds, and Cari Strug soared to fame by vaulting on an injured ankle.
For Cari Strug to land the vault as she did, she made it one of the most memorable Olympic moments ever.
In the final match against China, Tiffany Milbret scored in the 68th minute to break a 1-1 tie and seal a 2-1 victory for the U.S., capturing the first Olympic gold medal in women's soccer. In the first game of the inaugural tournament, the U.S. softball team beat Puerto Rico 10-0. 9 days later, the U.S. beat China for the gold 3-1 after shortstop Dot Richardson hit a 2-run homer down the right field line in the bottom of the third.
When you've been denied opportunity and you're given it, boy, you just are ready. Nothing's going to stop you.
Don't get me wrong, it was incredibly hard. And then when we were standing on that podium collecting our gold medals, we said it was well worth it.
If we didn't have that finish, I'm sure a lot of people wouldn't have really remembered the Magnificent Seven as they did, being at the Georgia Dome with 50,000 people in the arena cheering us on. Go USA is something that is a once-in-a-lifetime experience.
When you're on that podium and that flag starts to rise up, the blood draws out of your body. It's an amazing feeling.
There were many athletes that competed in fast pitch softball who paved the way, and that 96 gold medal was for them.
When I bent over and the Olympic gold medal was put around my neck, I was living that dream that I had as a 7-year-old girl. Each and every one of us having a story where those around us said it could never happen. It'll never happen. And for me as a young girl, being denied the opportunity to compete in sports because of being born a girl, to then all of a sudden with Title IX and the opportunities and living the dream in the 96 Olympics was the most humbling and most powerful moment in my life.
As a result of the USA's 96 Olympic success, 2 women's professional basketball leagues formed, the ABL and the WNBA.
It's about time. We're an existing league where the United States basketball programs could play in the U.S.
And if we didn't take the time to publicize professional women's basketball during the prime years of our careers, I really don't think we would be celebrating 25 years of the WNBA.
It was hope to be able to see Dot and Lisa, those women who had done it over and over, and then finally becoming like this mainstream sport. I couldn't be more thrilled to be a product of Title IX and of all the women who have paved the way.
It's not just about the achievements that we all made at the 1996 Olympic Games. It's the impact that we can continue to make decades and decades later.
But even with the opportunities that sprang forth from the 96 Olympics, the playing field remains far from even. After the 2008 Games, softball was cut as an Olympic sport.
And now it's a slow movement of trying to get back. And when it's been taken from you like it has for the past 2 Olympics and possibly 3, that definitely hurts in regards to the opportunities for young girls in our sport.
Just seeing like, man, if I was a boy, I would be making millions, signing a huge Major League Baseball contract.
We need more visibility for women's sports, and not just when it's the Olympic year or not just when it's the NCAA tournament.
I'm looking forward to the progress that we're going to continue to make. We're going to continue to fight because there are so many athletes in many sports that deserve an opportunity to continue their careers.
I want every young girl in the world to know that they can become whatever they want to become. And it doesn't matter what your gender is.
You want kids to dream, and you want them to dream big.
All right, for the folks at home, if they're not signing their children up, girls specifically up for sports, something's wrong with you, because I feel good. I feel like we should be out there doing it all. I am so excited for our next guest. We got to welcome in 9-time Olympic medalist Allison Felix. Allison, you know what it's like to be a first in so many ways, but I just want to remind the folks at home, you were the first American track athlete to enter the pros right out of high school. So let's start there. That piece that we just watched, narrated by the lovely Candace Parker,
yes.
really sets the tone for what the 96 Olympics meant for women. Talk to me about what you remember and how that affected you moving forward in sports.
Yeah, that was so powerful. I remember the 96 Games so vividly because it was the first time I actually remember sitting down and watching the Olympics. My grandma was living with our family at the time, and I remember each evening we would go up to her room and watch the games. And at the time, I was just fascinated by gymnastics. And so seeing Dominique Dawes was just incredible. You know, here I was, this young girl, and here's this girl who looks like me doing incredible things. And I had no, desire at the time, to be in athletics, but I was just awed by her. And I just thought it was incredible. And it's something that, I just remember to this day.
Renee, we were just talking about that. Candace was letting us know in a not so humble brag way that she remembers everyone from the Magnificent Seven and that she could actually name them. We were like, wait, but
she just started rolling them off. And I'm like, wait, what are you
saying?
Goodness,
look bad.
You could not tell me I was not Dominique Dawes. Allison, I cut out a beam and went out in my backyard and was flipping out in the backyard. My parents came out, crushed my entire dreams. I was 5'7" at like 10, so they were like, you're probably not going to be a gymnast.
That was my height. That's my height now. God.
But it's truly special because I think everybody is inspired by not just your sport.
Yeah.
You know, I have a front row seat to watching Allison.
Unbelievable.
And the way that we've we talk about we've been playing with each other since 15, and Allison and I have known each other since we were 16, 17 years old. And to watch her just continue to dominate her sport. And then now, Allison, as a mom, you're dominating the sport. You actually, I joked with you that you actually did better with Cammie. You just recently broke your record as a mom, so you're better with her. What can you say now, watching and being a part of the Olympics? You watched it at such a young age, and now having your daughter to be able to be on this journey with you.
It's so incredible, you know. Well, you know, Candace, I watch you. I think it's so rare that a woman has a child, you know, in the prime of her career. And so, you know, watching you do it and all the advice you've given me over the years, it's really incredible now to be in this place where it's like, wow, I do have a daughter. It changes your motivation. It drives me every single day, but it just makes it more memorable. And there's still more left to do. And I think, you know, a lot of times women are forced to feel like, you know, now their career is done once they have a child. And it's not the case. And I feel just like there's still so much more to give.
Speaking of more to give, Renee, we didn't get your thoughts. Talk to us about the '96 Olympics and what it meant for you. Although I think you're taller than 5'7". I thought, like,
I'm not, but I like that you thought that. I like that you thought that. I actually
got the heels.
I used to joke with Layla that, like, look, I'm still taller, but it's like that's
Layla's like, okay. Layla's like, okay.
That's all well and gone. But no, the '96 Olympics, I think it had the same effect on everyone our age group because we were all in that age where, you know, 10, 11, you're coming into your own. And so you want to see those people on TV. And I remember seeing Cheryl Swoops, the Magnificent Seven, everywhere. Like, they were everywhere. And I was like, wow, like, just to see women there. And for me, it was track and field for me. So it's funny that Allison is here because my oldest sister ran track. And so I saw my oldest sister in the track runners. And, you know, being the youngest, you always want to be like your older sister. But I want to ask Allison something because, like, everybody always asks us to play one-on-one. Do people ask to race you? You know, on Twitter and stuff, people always want to play us one-on-one. So do you get that same thing?
It's the go-to thing. Everybody wants to race you. Let's line up in the street. Let's do this. So, yeah, I can't tell you how many times. I think we're in the same boat there.
Yeah, and by the way, that's a business decision. So all you kids who are running out here talking about, can you race and actually play against these? You can't, okay? You just can't. And with that being said, Allison, you know, I know Candace referenced this, but we got to talk about, I think you just had a race on Sunday, an indoor 200-meter, your first race in not your first race, your first indoor 200-meter race in 18 years after you have a child. This indoor competition, we're showing it right now.
Gone.
Candace,
gone.
You pointed how she even, like, raised up at the end. Like, you know what I mean? She just, like, slowed down. Like, I'm gonna pull up a little bit. So talk to me about having your personal best after a child 18 years later in a race that you hadn't even competed in an event.
It's really encouraging, you know, that I'm moving in the right direction. I knew that I felt good, like I still definitely have more that I want to do, more that I want to accomplish. And it just kind of, you know, reassures me. And I'm just working hard, you know, to be ready for the Olympic Games and, you know, put it all together when it counts.
Foot race, who wins, you or Candace?
What? Like, why didn't you?
I'm just curious because you said you ran track. You trained with her.
Oh, yeah, she
did.
No.
I said I trained with her trainer. I showed up one day to track. I showed up one day to track, and that was Allison knows.
She's seen me play basketball. I think we'll both stay in our lane.
That's great.
For sure.
And with this being said, guys, like, I think the beauty of what I really wanted to captivate in this moment, and it was really inspired by what you said, Candace, the idea that 1996 was what? Because remember, the first thing I said to you was, why 1996? And we set it up in the piece, but for you personally, how did you look back at it and see it?
1996 is that middle ground of 25 years after Title IX was enacted. There was an entire generation of women, my mom included, that they weren't allowed to play sports in college.
Same.
And I find myself in the middle of the generation of my daughter has so many more opportunities as a result of Title IX and just an entire generation, and 96. It was just influential in how we look at women's sports. And I think we are seeing just so much growth from that point because, and not just in sport, in business, in other outlets and things outside of the court. And for me personally, I think it's important for us all to acknowledge that now these women that grew up are inspiring young girls, but they're also inspiring boys. They're also inspiring men to look to women in leadership positions. And I think that that's just as important when we talk about women's sports. It doesn't have anything to do necessarily with just professional. It has to do with, look at my baby. It has to do with, you know, outside of the court, because sports is a metaphor. So if we limit women in their competition and their ability to compete in sports, they're really limiting them in the business world as well, because those are the life skills that you get from playing sports.
I was talking to Asia Wilson earlier, and I'll get your take on this, Renee. The next level, the branding, the marketing. She was like, when I walk through the airport, I'd like to see Las Vegas Aces. I'd love to see our jerseys. I'd love to see the same type of attention that is given to the men that will be given to us. Where do you see the next level of progression for women in sports?
You know, I was watching the NBA on TNT, and yesterday or Tuesday, Candace talked about it, ownership. That's where it's at, making those decisions, the decision makers, because we can be mad about minorities not being in coaching and minorities not being in management, the Rooney Rule. We can be mad about a lot of different things, but you have to be in those positions to make the decisions, and I do think that's the next level. Because if there's a person that's at a company and now they're putting money into the WNBA, well, they're making that decision, and the decision is made and it's changed already. And so we have those decision makers that aren't buying into women's sports for whatever reason, so we need to change that.
Yeah, and it's the way that they're marketed, it's the way that you all are treated, it's the level playing field.
We have sneakerheads too. We
Yep.
have, you know, everything that gets highlighted in the men's game, sneakerheads, the culture, the outfits, you know, league fits, all those different things. We have women dressing too. We have women stepping too.
I told you about your boots and my girl sitting up here in her silk. Like, we already got it.
Gary, I'm not ready. I'm not about to play with you today.
Look, Allison, you got to come on set. Look at your girl in her silk. My boo wearing her boots.
But we all have a color scheme going on.
We have a color scheme going. Allison, I have to ask you this. Your thoughts on whether or not the Olympics will take place?
I'm hopeful. You know, I think we're moving forward. I've been hearing some positive things, and you know, as an athlete, I have tunnel vision. I have to be ready, and so I'm just, holding on to that hope.
And then I got to follow up the journalist in me. Now, if in fact, heaven forbid, it isn't, you still plan to come back no matter what, correct?
She leaned in, Allison.
Yeah, she went this.
We all leaned in.
You know what? I'm not even letting my mind
go there,
wander to not having an Olympic game. So that's where I'm at right now, and I'm all in right there.
All right, listen, you told me, and I listened. You told me right here. So we are celebrating women in sports. Allison Felix, thank you so much for joining us. You are always such a pleasure.
Amazing.
Thank you for joining us for this moment.
Thank you, Cammie's mom.
Thank you, Cammie's mom. Guys, before we go to break, take a look here. We got a game tonight. We're talking about whoa, look at Luka. Hey, guy. That's coming up tonight at 7 p.m. right after we're done. Stick around. We'll talk about what should and should not happen in the world of sports.
Art is patient. Art is dedicated. Art is practice. Art is persistent. Art is uplifting. Art is rejoiceful. Art is passion. Art is powerful. Art is Misty Copeland. Misty Copeland is art.
That's beautiful. Let's take a closer look. It's in studio. Art by women celebrating women in the Paint Her series. On Highlight Her, Keely Jackson, paints her tribute to Misty Copeland, the first Black woman to be a principal dancer with the prestigious American Ballet Theater. Keely, thank you so much for that. You guys may be able to take that home. I don't know. I'll talk to some people, see if they want to share it with y'all. Listen to this, guys. We got to celebrate for one moment. AT&T is committed to spotlighting exceptional women in sports and business with She's Connected by AT&T. So tonight, we highlight Trailblazer Alex Morgan as she shares her journey on motherhood and the fight for a more equitable future for her daughter. Let's take a look.
If there was greater equality in sports, we wouldn't have to be fighting so hard. I love AT&T's She's Connected platform. I'm just happy to partner with a company that is so passionate about giving the girl the microphone. One thing that I've been really happy about is building my content company. It is really community for women to feel valued and feel vulnerable, to feel they can share things unfiltered.
So the show is about acknowledging those who held the door open and ushered in a new era of women's sports. And so with that in mind, our Taylor Rooks sat down with women's basketball Hall of Famer Lisa Leslie and Seattle Storm superstar Breanna Stewart to talk about the history of the women's game, its impact on society, and the heights they hope to see it reach in the future. This is called Old School, New School.
All right, are you all ready? Good to go?
Yep, this is all I can do.
This is what I got.
Lisa, you call yourself a torch carrier. So what responsibility does someone like Breanna have when it comes to carrying that torch?
We are all connected in some ways, and so we have to understand the history of both the WNBA, the history of USA basketball, and there's like some bad women who played way before us who didn't have the platform, who didn't have the exposure. Ann Donovan, Ann Myers, Cheryl Miller, at Pitt Summit. I mean, the list is so long that you'd have to name all of these women who paved the way for us. I felt, yes, I'm a torch carrier. Those women carried it as far as they could. I took it and I ran with it. I understood the importance of being a good role model.
I wouldn't be playing with Team USA or in the WNBA without Lisa, you know, and without what she's done. The ones before us helped the WNBA get so far, and we're going to continue to build it up for the ones that are coming after us.
Breanna, you deserve a major round of applause for everything the WNBA did to flip the Senate.
The fact is that we have strength in numbers and we continue to represent one another. And I think, you know, having the opportunity to help Reverend Warnock encourage people in the state of Georgia to vote was something that was super, super important. But it's crazy. You know, it's crazy because, you know, you have the people on Instagram who are like, oh, they can't play, they can't do this, that, and the other. And then it's like, bang, we just flipped the Senate, you know, like help do that.
One thing that we do with Old School, New School is we have you all build a starting five featuring yourself. So Breanna, you have to build a starting five featuring old school players. And Lisa, you have to build a starting five featuring the new school players.
Old school is like not playing, right?
Yeah, not playing.
And I'm going with current, correct?
Yes.
That's playing.
You're going with current. Okay, Lisa, you're up.
Okay, I would never leave the country without Diana Taurasi and Sue Bird. There's a few of y'all that's all so great. I mean, Maya Moore hasn't played in a while. Can I take Stewie, or Stewie can't be on my team?
Let's say just because she's doing her team, she can't be on your team. Yeah.
Okay, fine. So if I leave Stewie at home...
I'll be manager.
Okay, you manage my team. I got to take Candace Parker with me. Deladon. Who do I have thus far?
Like, I think we have five now.
I have Diana, Sue, Maya Moore, Candace Parker, and Deladon.
But you're on the team, too. Yeah, you're
on am I in it?
Yes, you're in it.
You're playing.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to let Deladon sub in for me. I'm going to go ahead and rock with y'all in the post. Or if you need me outside, let me know what you need. I got whatever you need.
Breanna, you're up.
So I can't have Lisa.
You cannot choose Lisa.
Wait, what? Oh, that's a messed up rule. You can't take me with the old school. What?
Dawn Staley. Can I go with Catch?
You can, yes. I'll let you. You can put her in there. Yes.
Catch got you some rebounds, blocked you, hit some threes. She gonna work hard.
All over the place. Yeah. Lauren Jackson. I'm not sure if she's technically old school, but she's not playing.
Yeah, she's old school.
I need a post player. Help me, Lisa. I can't pick you. So.
Oh, Tina. You didn't get Tina Thompson?
Oh my God, I'm bugging. See?
There you go. Boom.
Which player from your generation does Brianna most remind you of?
I would say she's a mix of me and Lauren Jackson and a little bit of Candace Parker too. She has amazing skills. She's inside out. I feel like her game is a lot like mine, but a little bit more on steroids in terms of open court. Because they wouldn't give me the opportunity to do that stuff. Back in the day, I had to make the outlet.
Just go do your thing.
You know what I mean? It's not that I couldn't do it. It's just that
that's holding you back.
Sorry, Dawn. I got the ball. I'm gonna bring it on.
Exactly. I love your tenacity, your work ethic, and you don't even seem mean though. I mean, you have a lot of success without being mean, because I was kind of mean, but I don't know. You might be out there low-key talking trash. What you saying out there?
When you get into that zone and you're playing, like, that's the only thing you're focused on, and you're focused on dominating and being the best, and it's more so the competitiveness and wanting to win and helping your teammates rather than, realizing what persona I'm kind of giving off. The way that I am in person is the way that I am on the court, and continue.
Really?
I don't know. I feel like I like to have fun and compete.
That's awesome. I am not the same person. In basketball, I'm like, oh, I was crazy. I want to win. I want my teammates to win.
I got a question.
Yeah.
So when you play like games at home, are you that person, or are you the chill Lisa?
Oh no, I'm too competitive. People are mad because I got winning dances, and then I want to turn on music and just. I try to chill out, and then I'm like, I don't know why I'm like this. I'd be apologizing to my husband later. Do you play a lot of games, Brianna?
Yeah, if I lose, I'm mad and just don't talk for 5 minutes. Like,
exactly.
Let me work it out real quick, and then I'm mad.
We're the same.
It's official. There's a dynasty in the WNBA.
How do you define what a dynasty is?
I mean, I think it's so tough to define a dynasty, and I think that, obviously when people think of dynasty, you think of just winning all the time and, having that group continue to come back. You know what a dynasty is? USA Basketball. That's a dynasty. That's for sure.
That's a mic drop right there.
This, for me, was just such an enlightening conversation. It was great to hear, from two different generations about how the game has evolved, how it has grown, the talent that is there. But honestly, my favorite thing was just this mutual respect between you two. I really loved hearing you guys talk about each other in such an admirable way. So I've enjoyed this, and thank you so much for joining Old School, New School.
Thank you for having us as well.
Brianna, I wish you the best. I'll see you out there on the court. I'll be watching.
Aw, well, I enjoyed that. Shout out to Taylor Rooks. She did a great job, my friend. I want to talk about a couple of things. Of course, when you're in studio and you're watching this, you can't hear us talking. Candace had a problem being pick number 2.
I was just confused, Smooth. I thought we were cooler. Like, you got me coming in off the bench. Like, I was like, you picked somebody else, and then they had to go.
But why did you put your sneakers on like you were about to go play? Like,
listen.
But, I mean, the point is this. It was hard to pick, and that talks about the talent level in the WNBA. It's 25th year. Talk about the talent that you've seen and where it's come from the moment that you used to watch and be a kid. Like, oh, my God.
Listen, Candace was mad, but I was thinking, like, man, that's tough. I mean, you hear it anytime people make lists. It's tough to make a list because there's just so many good players. Like, yeah, you got to put Candace in there, and you got to put these players in there, and Birdie, and all the different superstars that's been in our league. I mean, even when you do look at the past, and I thought about something in a sense of, you look at how we played in college and our paths that brought us here, and they talked about having a mutual level of respect. Yeah, we all respect the grind because we know that we do it for the love of the game. And the people that played before us really did it for the love of the game because they weren't making much money. And so that's what I see when I see players play, and that's why I always treat players with a certain level of respect as they do, because we know the grind.
It was hard to, it was good to hear them talk about it, and then you're right about any kind of top 5, but the level of respect, you talk about not making making any money. Listen, that's still an issue.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think for me it's interesting because we fall in between those two generations. Stewie is new. Lisa, smooth, that's what I call it.
Yeah, what is our generation? Because I relate with old school.
We do, because we're old, Renee. It's okay. It's okay. We can say that. We are old. But we've kind of fallen that middle ground where when we were coming in, we were kind of given that torch and you have to carry it forward. And I grew up watching players like Cheryl Miller and studying the game and knowing Ann Myers and Nancy Lieberman and those players that didn't have the opportunities that we have, but that doesn't change the fact that we still have so much farther to go. And I think that comes with investment in women's sports.
Yes.
And, you know, women's soccer has been huge the last couple of years because players, they've seen that women sell if you don't give it a chance. If you don't give women sneakers, if you don't give women commercials and opportunities and not give, they've earned it. I mean, you know, invest in that, then you don't know what the return is. And so I think as just a society, like, we oftentimes say women don't sell, but you haven't given it a chance. And women's soccer has proven that. Women's basketball has proven that. And I think that this generation, Stewie, this generation is really going to take it forward, and hopefully Layla will have the opportunity to wear
that. No pressure.
Yeah, no pressure, baby. She doesn't like basketball that much.
But I do like the idea of the operative word there, which is investment. Invest and watch the return, because it has been proven. When we come back, guys, we're going to wrap things up with Cari's Champions. I am going to speak with Bianca Smith. And apparently, the entire time I'm talking, I have my producer yelling in our ear. Why are you yelling in my ear? I'm trying to talk. I can't talk and hear you.
Oh, man.
Candace, we love you.
My baby hairs have come a long way.
Oh, my goodness.
Look at that. Look at growth.
So, the streets are talking, guys, and I want to tell you what they're saying. Candace Parker, executive produced this episode. Okay.
Get the bag.
Give me $1. Give me $1 right now.
Internet is undefeated.
Give me $1 right now, Candace. I ain't playing with you. Meanwhile, well, show them, Naomi.
Flex on them.
Excuse me.
Not a weird flex, an appropriate flex. Okay, with the trophy in the Laker. Go with her Laker jersey. Warm up. Don't be mad.
She's unbelievable. Super inspiring, inspirational, all that, on and off the court.
I love every single thing about her. She is, congratulations, she is so young and she has so much more to show us. So I'm just so happy she's out there doing her thing.
High fashion.
She has all of it. And speaking of women who have it all, as we've highlighted all day, 29-year-old Bianca Smith didn't want to be the first, but she got the call and she was the first. She is a coach. The Red Sox organization wanted her to be on their minor league coaching staff. Can you imagine when you get the call, hey, we want you to be a coach? But she's the very first Black woman to be named a coach in MLB history, which is why right now Bianca is Cari's champion. So excited to have you as Cari's champion. Bianca Smith, the very first Black woman to coach in professional baseball. When did you know, playing softball throughout your life, that you really wanted to have a role in baseball?
Really, it was, college. I mean, baseball's been my favorite sport since I was 3. It wasn't until college I decided that I didn't want to go my original career path, which was veterinarian, and I wanted to get into sports, and that was a given. Like, if I was going to go to sports, it was going to be baseball.
You already know, deciding that you want to work in baseball, that there would be barriers that you would have to overcome. Why was that not discouraging to you?
Honestly, because I never really thought about them. I did think of them as challenges, but challenges to me, that's what makes it so much fun. That's what makes it rewarding when you finally get there. It's no fun if it's just easy to do. Not to mention if it was easy, I mean, you hear the quote all the time, anybody would do it. So I just grew up with this mentality that you could do whatever you want. Like, it's going to be hard work, but that's what makes it worth it. So to me, the challenges weren't there to stop me. The challenges were there to make me better and to make it even more rewarding when I finally got there.
Bianca Smith is the first Black woman to coach in professional baseball history. How does that line sit with you?
I've had people say, I bet you're going to be the first one. And my response is always, I hope not. Because that means we're going to be waiting for it. I want somebody to beat me because that means it's going to happen that much sooner. I'm trying to embrace it. trying to utilize it to help inspire other women. I might be the first, but I don't want to be the only.
Do you look at yourself as an ambassador, if you will?
And that's always kind of been my goal. I hope that, especially with this position now, I can continue to be one of those people who helps bring interest and maintain interest and just keep it going.
I see what happened with the Marlins GM and Kim Ng. So when they announced she was being hired, your thoughts?
It's like, yeah, it's about time. Like, she should have been hired years ago. I mean, she's way overqualified. So yes, as I saw that notification, I was in my office. I cheered. I'm usually more expressive on the field, not inside the office. So it's one of the few times I get really loud. I was super excited to see that. I mean, I'm so happy for her.
You look ahead, what do you envision for this sport?
Interest needs to increase. We can't have this static interest. It needs to increase with people of color. It needs to increase with just people in general. It's there. We just need to continue it.
You are truly a champion, your attitude, your approach. So thank you so much for agreeing to be a Cari's champion. Bianca Smith, thank you so much. It was such a pleasure to talk to you. She said she didn't want to be the first, but she was, and she would hope she wouldn't be the last. When you look at what women have done, and as we're in closing, give me some of your closing remarks in terms of what we've been able to discuss today, and what would you like to see moving forward?
I would say more of the same. Our Madam Vice President got it going and started the year of the female. And so you started just seeing more things happening. And I want to see more of the same, but I would love to see where there aren't really those barriers to break, to her point, where it's already been done. It's a normalized thing to have women in those positions. So I look for the future to be normalized at management, coaching, NFL, MLB, sports that we don't play, we can still coach.
Yeah, I like it.
Honestly, I think it's calling out allies. And just as we talk about race in America, and we need white allies, we need men.
Yeah.
We need men to really come forward. And we've had the late, great Kobe Bryant
huge
was the WNBA. And he treated not women's basketball players, but basketball players. And with that being said, I think this generation has cracked the ceiling, but I think this next generation is gonna completely shatter it. We're gonna shatter that ceiling.
Let's get it.
Let's go.
You hear that? It's been cracked, now it's about to be shattered. Y'all better hold on, because it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. Our executive producer by the name of Candace Parker. Thank you.
Yes, Candace.
Thank you, Queen.
So much.
Thank you. You did a great job. Renee, you did a great job as usual. I love you. Leave those shoes with me. Got to give a shout out to everyone on the staff here. It has been such a wonderful time on the arena. We'll see you soon. Meanwhile, Ernie, Kenny, Charles, and Shaq are next. Also, go over to the gram, the IG. Candace and I will be talking about how she's going to give me some of that back. That back.
And it's up.
It's mine.